Live at Onigashima. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Jimmy, and today we got chapter 1149. And oh my god, was it a banger? Like,
so good.
Just to skip to the end really quick, because holy crap, I can't contain myself. Emu pops in, like,
Emu's
what?
here
Like,
on
holy crap.
LBAF. It's kind of crazy that we're just getting Emu just straight up possessing somebody. This puts Emu kind of like in another tier for sure, right? Because this is almost like a feat straight up from Emu, being able to possess these people. Like, can he do this to the Gorosei? Like, we know that he can like incinerate them.
I assume so, right? Like, it seems more and more like the theory you were like talking about way back in Egghead, where he like these are just like vessels of Emu, right. But we can also see that they were like, to cut into the flashback a little bit, like she was like Gunko was a person before like Emu got involved, and now he took her over. It kind of reminds me of in Naruto, like the paths of pain, like being controlled by a single entity. So like, how far can it go? And like, clearly, like, I mean, how far is Marijua from Elbaf? Like, it's crazy far.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean, like, he's already like telepathically communicating with them. Like, they can all hear him, and they're like, oh my god, great Emu, like, why is he here? Another thing like that's interesting, so like, you know, we see Gunko, like, her eyes turn into the same, like, you know, ring eyes or whatever, cursed eyes. We see the lightning behind her. Things are about to get real. I don't even know who's gonna really deal with an Emu level threat here right now. Like, Luffy has to come here because like Scopper got yeeted. Like, so let's just back up just a little bit, because Scopper got a whole thing going on.
Literally, he got a hole in his chest.
He got a hole in his chest. Great feats, but we got to talk power scaling for a minute, because Scopper, you know, he showed that he obviously he knows, like in the last chapter, we know he like can stop the regeneration, and he cut Summers in half here, which is kind of nuts. I thought he was gonna be dead, but by the end of it, Summers is like still alive somehow, even though he used like a anti-regeneration
so like it
thing.
seems like his head wasn't like cut, so he can still like talk and stuff. So I don't know, it feels like part of like maybe Emu, like him being a part of these like people, he can like talk through them still. They're not completely dead. They're not, I mean, clearly they're not like full human either. Like, there's something else going on here. We're just like cutting them in half, and maybe we need to like cut them into pieces or like destroy the brain or something. Maybe there's like a part of their connection that we need to do. Maybe like a piece of them is connected to Emu, and until you destroy that, they continue to regenerate or something. Like, I know that was a theory people had from the last chapter, is since they cut off, or since Gaban cut off Summers' arm, that arm might have been the one where he had the seal, which is what they use for the summoning circles.
Right.
And maybe because you cut that off and that's like a connection to Emu, that's why he's no longer able to regenerate. So as long as that seal is intact, maybe they can just keep regenerating, and maybe these characters have like multiple of these seals. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be it. It's interesting that, like, so what I gotta give props to Chopper here, right? 'Cause Chopper pops out and immediately he's like, we gotta know what's going on.
Like, yeah, I respect that a lot.
Yeah, so he's
taking that initiative.
Exactly, dude. Sad to see that the library is burning anyways, I guess. But you know, they did bring back the children. But speaking of the children, you know, Scopper goes to save Colin, and stupid Colin, by the way, saying like, oh my god, that's my dad.
I mean,
Gunko immediately being like, oh, okay, got it.
Even if, like, I get it, it's stupid, but like, can you blame him?
He's a kid, yeah.
Like, he's proud of his dad, he's a child, like, he doesn't understand what's gonna happen. Like, you can even see Gaban's like, please don't, please don't, please don't. But then like, he does it anyways. So like, I can't fully blame him for it either. Yeah, and I feel like this will be a learning moment for Colin later, to think about his actions before just like doing things.
Yeah, for sure, I agree. We see Gunko then like immediately go for him, and so we see this cool little moment with Gaban where it seems like that was future sight, right? Like, it literally shows.
Oh, it has to be. Yeah, it has to be.
Like him, like Gunko, like stabbing Colin, and then he's like, okay, stop, I give up. Like, I know that's gonna happen, right? And so we can assume that I mean, the chapter was called 1 second, right? So he probably saw 1 second into the future. So Katakuri over Gaban confirmed.
Well, I guess, I mean, maybe, but definitely not. But what I was thinking more is like, it's nice to get confirmation that the Wings of the Pirate King had future Seihaki.
Right.
Because to me, this soft confirms that Sanji and Zoro are both going to end up getting
sure,
future
yeah.
Seihaki in the future, right?
I think so. I mean, like, it already kind of felt like that with Rayleigh, because he was fighting Kizaru, somebody who's like made of light, like moving at that speed.
Yeah.
So for Gaban to have that, and he already had like a past instance of observation hockey when he like felt the holy knights from like across the land and then rushed here. So, but you know, he had to drop his guard, and then Gunko got him. You know, I don't know what's gonna happen. I assume he's gonna be the one that's caught by Luffy and them at the bottom here, and he's not gonna die.
They're gonna know, because we talked about it being Ranja last chapter, who really quickly, oh my god, I felt so sad for her when she was like, I failed you, like I should have. I'm like, bro, a child should not be saying stuff like that.
Nah, poor Ranja.
But I agree, I feel like Gaban is gonna be the one to like fall, and that's what's gonna help them notice. Maybe they pick up Gaban. Or do we potentially think Gaban is the sacrifice in this chapter, or like in this arc? Like, is he gonna be the one to end up like passing away?
Oh man,
because he's the type of character where I could see it happening, because he's old, like he's had his time in the world, he's passed down things like to the next generation. So I could see him potentially being one of the ones to like kick the bucket.
Yeah,
but I don't want him to.
I would
but
say
I could see
it's weird because like I think Oda in general is more willing to kill off characters that like are blatantly like they say like, oh, I'm willing to die, like Ashura Doji, Izo, Whitebeard, Ace, like all of them kind of said like that they're ready to die, or like they had their resolution or whatever. I don't know if Gaban necessarily had that, like, so I'm leaning towards he's gonna stay alive. But I like this little flashback too that he saw when Colin was born, and it's really cute. I saw somebody point this out on Twitter that he's like, oh, this is the treasure of a lifetime, and this must have been after he saw the One Piece, right? Yeah, so that's kind of cute. But yeah, I mean, Gunko's no slouch here. Like Gunko, you know, immediately taking action, but then we have to talk about the Brook stuff. It's kind of
I mean,
insane.
the connection to Brook, like people were talking about it before. It's like, oh, maybe she's like fanboy. It's like it clearly goes way deeper than her just being like a fangirl of Brook. Like we see here, and I mean the two like big theories, like the one a lot of people I know are going to be thinking about is like, is that Brook's daughter? But I feel like they just don't look similar enough for that to be the case.
I don't think it can be, because she even like, okay, so we see, I'm going to break it down like kind of panel by panel here, because there's a lot going on even in these tiny little panels. Okay, so Colin is like screaming, daddy, daddy, like, oh my God. And it's like triggering her. And she all of a sudden has this memory of seemingly herself screaming father, right? And crying, screaming to father. And then she's like, wait, is this a memory? So she doesn't even like, somehow this is repressed in Gunko, which tells me immediately that like Imu has repressed her memories or something, or like, so, you know, something happened where she was like converted from this. And then we see this panel of, that's Brook, bro. Yo-ho-hoing. This is a yo-ho-ho chapter.
I mean, you see the afro.
Yeah,
like,
you see the afro. That's Brook. And he says, you see, my dream is to be a pirate. Right? And so this has to be right before he goes off with Yorkie and them to be part of the Rumbar Pirates. And so a lot of people were assuming like, oh, so he left his daughter, whatever. But then later in the panels, it says, well, Brook says, my apologies, which I don't know what that means. I think he might just be, I don't know what he's in reference to, probably like whatever this memory is. But then she says Brook, ? Which she wouldn't call him her father Brook. She would say father. I mean, she literally like said it earlier. She said it earlier. She said father, right? Like, I don't think. And then she was like, oh, is that you, Brook? And then that's when like immediately Imu cuts her off and is like, no memories allowed. I'm taking over. So it's, I would say more so than Brook being the father, maybe Yorkie was her father, and then he was like protecting her, because we know also that when Brook was first introduced, right, and he pledged his loyalty to Luffy, he said, long ago I was the leader of a battle convoy in a certain kingdom, right? What that kind of leads me to believe, there's a couple of different, you know, like random kingdoms that we don't know, and we never got a confirmation of that, but Brook knew about the Holy Knights Was Brook
Yeah.
a Holy Knight? Was Yorkie a Holy Knight?
Well, I don't
Was it?
necessarily know about that. I do like the theory that Gungo could be Yorkie's daughter because she also kind of more resembles him than she resembles Brook and stuff,
For
right?
sure, the hair, yeah.
And especially in the one where she's screaming father there, she looks way more like Yorkie there than like in the current
I think
panels
so,
even.
yeah.
So I definitely see that. And then it's more so what I'm thinking is like, how did Emu brainwash these people? And one of my first thoughts is kind of Pudding's devil fruit. Like, we don't know where it was at
True.
before Big Mom and Pudding had it. And we've seen that it has the power to alter memories and remove memories from people. But if that's the case, why are they then coming back to Gunko now? Like,
Right.
clearly it's traumatic events and like there's like it's like trigger words basically that these characters have to snap them back. And I wonder if all the Gods Knights are gonna be like this, if some of them are gonna be like
I feel like
this
is like a specific Gunko thing, though. Like this,
right? Because that's what I was thinking. I was thinking like Shamrock, for instance. Obviously, his father is a part of the Holy Knights, so he wouldn't really have a reason to be like brainwashed or anything because he was like born into this type of lifestyle.
Right.
Maybe they tried to do this to like Shanks at some point even,
Well, no,
and he was just able to resist it.
Well, another thing
Like,
that
I know-
like, well, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, I know like he got away from that because like he was on God Valley, or we assume Roger picked him up on God Valley, and he was able to get away with it like that. So he didn't have a chance to be like, you know, brainwashed by all of it.
Mhm.
But maybe in the future, like between when Roger died and him now,
Well, we did
maybe they tried to
see-
capture him and do that.
Yeah, we did see Shamrock say that like, I think at some point, Shanks left God Valley or the Holy
Left
Land.
Marisha, yeah.
Yeah, so you know that could be a possibility. Another thing I wanted to point out is that I don't think we have coloring for Gunko's hair yet, right? Like that's usually like a big thing, and that was revealed in the anime where like Garling has blonde hair and not red hair like we all thought he was gonna have, right? So you know Yorkie's blonde too. A lot of the celestial dragons are blonde, clearly. Like this, blonde is like a very, you know, allegory to white supremacy and like all that, you know what I mean? So like I feel like that could be her hair color, and that could be the connection to Yorkie a little bit. This is all pointing towards that for me. Which
then again, sorry, you can keep going.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say that kind of points again to like what we were saying about Shanks. Like his whole thing is red hair Shanks. So I mean, if he is a descendant, did like he get like, was he thrown out at some point because he had like mixed blood or something, and they weren't like fond of that? Like I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think like where all this can go. Like I don't know what the timeline is necessarily, like how it lines up, because you know if she was a kid then and she's seemingly like she's like a teenager almost now, or maybe like 18 or something, because she's, you know, bopping to music and all that. She looks really young. So if she is Yorkie's daughter, you know, in reality she'd be like 60 something at this point, right? Because Brook is 90.
Brook is like, yeah.
So
I mean, in 50 years he was on Thriller Bark, and they would have traveled before that like easily in her like 60s,
right? But because of this whole immortality thing that Emu can like impart, because we saw like for sure Saint Saturn was like the same kind of age between when Kuma was a young boy and like now, right? Is he pretty much, his appearance stayed exactly the same. And then same thing with like, you know, Jupiter, for example, who's like a very young Gorosei. We could assume that like whenever Emu imparts this immortality thing, or whenever they get chosen to be Gorosei or Holy Knights or whatever, that they stay that age. So she could just be, you know, 60 something but like look like this because of Emu's power.
Yeah. And I mean, it goes back to, again, like some of the immortality we're thinking about is with the Ope Ope no Mi fruit, and it's not technically immortality in like that sense. It's supposed to be called like the divine youth surgery or something. So that would make sense, like, oh, you stay young forever. But depending on your interpretation of that, does that also include the immortality where they can regenerate? Like, I don't know. It's just more for us to figure out.
It is.
But I want to see kind of like what Emu's gonna do on this island.
For
like,
sure.
He clearly wants to just destroy everything. And to me, if he can do stuff like this, why has he not done this before either? Like, why has he not sent the Holy Knights to other places to like basically control these areas,
Well,
especially where there's like more pirates and stuff.
I think it has to do also with the whole like secrecy thing, because we didn't know until Reverie that Emu even existed, right? Or like nobody really knew. Dragon didn't really know that there was somebody on top. Like nobody really knew. And I think now that more things are happening and like Elbaf is clearly like a very essential part of whatever this like final war is going to be, now he's more willing to be like, okay, we got to wrap it up here. Also with like, because you think like, okay, maybe on Egghead they could have done like Emu could have done this, like possessed one of the Gorosei and then been there, right? But they kind of got jump scared by Joy Boy and his hockey, and they just like dispersed like immediately after that. And then Emu was shown like shaking, like he was like, oh my god, like Joy Boy, like it's a whole other level. So there really wasn't that much of an opportunity for Emu to do this beforehand. But now it's like stops are being pulled out.
I feel like part of it is just weird also, because like if he says here, it's like, oh, it looks like you need more additional military force, but then why did Shamrock leave either? Like I feel like they could have just had more God's Knights too.
Maybe
they
didn't know
him showing like
go ahead.
I was gonna say this shows that I feel like he's kind of getting scared, right? Like the fact that Gunko is kind of breaking out his control shows he's like, damn, I'm actually losing control of the situation and I need to be a lot more hands-on than in the past. So I feel like very soon, maybe not in Elbaf, but very soon we're gonna get to see what Emu looks like,
or at least what Emu can do, dude. Like next chapter's gonna be crazy for that. Another thing I wanted to point out about Emu's like text here. So one of the things he says, he's like, what's all this commotion? The Holy Land is currently in a sea of flames. So like, what's going on at Marijoa? Like, I don't think he's talking about the Reverie, right? Because that was like a long time ago.
That would have been a while ago, yeah.
I mean, maybe Akainu got real mad that like Kuma broke out and Akainu's like, I'm burning
well,
everything.
Sea of Flames could also be like Sabo. Like, what if the revolutionaries went and did something?
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, is that the
because they do know about Emu and stuff now, so they could like they know they're weak right now because they cut off their rations. Why, like this would be the perfect opportunity for them to kind of go and attack them while they're weak, especially while they're sending out their Holy Knights to fight other battles. That gives them less protection up there too.
For sure. Yeah, I think that the only other place that maybe my brain would go is like Blackbeard, and the only reason is because I know that we saw that Lafitte was like following the Revs, so maybe there's like a double thing going on where like Blackbeard pirates are taking advantage of like the things that the revolutionaries kind of set up, and that might be why. So something could be like going on there, and that might be part of the reason why Emu feels the need to like come down and do stuff here. Like I think that he probably trusted the Holy Knights to get it done here, and they didn't really know that Scopper Gaban was going to be here.
Yeah, I mean Summers was clearly surprised. He's like, Gaban, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they didn't know that the Straw Hats are on Elbaf either. I don't think like they didn't really know their trajectory from Egghead.
Yeah.
Like we could assume that, I guess, like York sort of knew maybe because of Vegapunk, but I don't think like she's like connected anymore to Punk Records and stuff. Or maybe she is. I don't know. I don't know how that is all gonna play out.
I mean, speaking of connections, also the one last thing I wanted to say about like Emu being connected to different people, you mentioned it a little bit, like with the Gunko's eyes, how they changed to have Emu's eyes. And I mean, again, we've talked about this before. Like, there's other characters with these types of eyes, and now like the fact that her eyes are changing like this when she's being controlled. I wonder if that means, is Emu controlling other people? Like the other ones we saw it with were like Zunisha, and that could be a very real possibility because Zunisha is under a curse, and we know like Zunisha's apologizing to Joy Boy. Oh, I'm sorry, Joy Boy. I didn't want this, and maybe that's because Zunisha's being controlled. But the other big one I was thinking of is Mihawk. Like we really don't know a lot about Mihawk. And maybe he could be like this kind of like undercover like force in the world that Emu has.
Well,
that like he's just using to like spy on people.
I want to use this as kind of a segue to like this last part of the segment of our show here to talk about some like kind of niche theories. One of the things I saw about this was like, what if Mihawk was a Holy Knight that Emu could not control, and then he kind of just like
that could be a real possibility too. he actually like broke free of the control.
Yeah, I think that would be insane. Some other little theories just to wrap it up here that I've been seeing, like one of them is we see Gunko kind of like, I don't know if it's like she let her hair down or like some kind of Super Saiyan-y ability happened when Imu like controlled her, is that the power up happens with the hair. Like we see that in anime all the time. But people are saying with this like hairstyle, again, we don't know the coloration of her hair, but kind of looks like Nami's hair. So there might be a connection with her and the Holy Knights, or like maybe we don't know Nami's backstory either. You know, we know
just know she was picked up by Belmir.
Right. Well, it's like picked up by Belmir in like a war zone. Some people I heard say like, oh, she was picked up in the Sorbet Kingdom after like it got ransacked, you know, like during the whole like Kuma flashback.
Yeah.
Or maybe, you know, it was in Marijoa or something. So like we really don't know. Like there could be like a really weird family tree developing amongst the Straw Hats, where like if you, so this is like another theory, and we'll leave this for like another day, but Randy Choi has this really interesting theory of Yorkie being Luffy's like granddad, and I think it makes a lot of sense if you go watch the video. But it'd be funny if, like, you know, Luffy was connected in that way or whatever, and then Nami was maybe his like half cousin or something. And like I know I like the theory that Dragon is actually Robin's dad as well, with Olvia, because there are like connections there.
I've heard that one.
But
I'm a little more skeptical on stuff like that. But who knows? Like we'll see.
Just random theories, you know.
It's just random theories at the end. I mean, this chapter clearly had a lot. In my opinion, probably one of the best in LBFs so far.
For
like
sure.
This chapter just had so much. Like we didn't even really talk about a bunch of the stuff at the very beginning.
Yeah.
That much about how Gaban was fighting like against Summers. But I feel like if we keep going on, this video is gonna be like an hour long.
It's gonna be.
Let us know what you guys. Yeah, let us know what you guys think in the comments. Any theories that you have. I mean, as usual, feel free to fight us. But to be honest, I'd be more interested in your theories at this point, because I feel like there's so much you can talk about.
There's so many theories. Yeah, no, we'll definitely get more into Gaban power scaling after this. Like, dude, the end of the year's like top 30, top 50, whatever we decide to do, man. Scopper Gaban's gonna be around. The Holy Knights are gonna be around. There's a lot to talk about. I mean,
a bunch of these characters, right?
Like, I also want to say, bro, I'm
changing.
very disappointed in Jinbei, dude. Like, I mean, I know he's right about the whole like Robin has a bad matchup against the Thorns thing, but like Jinbei hasn't done nothing here. Like, I want Jinbei to get off his ass.
All I'm saying is I kind of been calling it. People were hyping up Jinbei too much. And I was like, guys, that's not how the story's written.
He might be going down.
He's strong, but he's not that strong.
He's a warlord, though. Yeah, no, I mean, Jinbei is going down in the ranks for me. But let us know what you guys think in the comments. And until next time, see you on the next one.
Wait, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe.
Oh yeah, do that for sure. Yeah, please like,
always like, comment, subscribe. Yeah, we'll see you in the next one.
Peace.